Hello, good evening, and welcome to class. Good evening, and welcome to class. It's good to see the number of persons already here. Happy Sunday. My name is Anieti Etuk. I'm a data analytics coach, and today's class we are looking at generating insights and then working with recommendations using a live data. So, as our custom is, the first few seconds we use it to welcome everybody. So, if you're in class and you can hear me, please, I'll need that our usual way of saying yes loud and clear. So let me quickly welcome the persons in class. Okay, I can see Comfort, you're welcome. Dewale, you're welcome. Victor, you're welcome. Badmos, you're welcome. Elisha, Esther, Samuel, Atisa, Spiffy, Fola, is it Rose Peck, and then Ifunaya, Toby, Austin, Oliver, Jackson, Emmanuel, and a lot of persons. I want to say welcome everybody and good evening, happy Sunday. Hope your day is going well. And today's class will be an interesting one. I've not had this class in the open before. This is the first time I'm having it more like an open discussion, giving room for everybody to be part of the discussion. So from my own end, I want to say thank you for joining us, and I want to promise you it will be a very, very interesting section. You'll be glad you took part in it. So if you can hear me loud and clear, I need that feedback. Okay, so I'm getting feedback loud and clear. Okay. Okay, so we'll just get straight into it. So quickly, I've seen some persons walk through the project we did last time, and I want to really encourage them with their work. What you did that last class was really impressive. So let's start with today's class, and I'll bring up the data immediately, and I'll share the screen so that we'll see the sample of the finished work. Then from there we can start the discussion. So give me a second to share my screen. If you can't hear me loud and clear, please just let me know. But I want to assume that I'm getting positive feedback that the audio is good. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen, entire screen. Okay. Okay, so confirm that you're with me and you can see my screen. So let me take my picture of the screen so that you can see it clearly. Can you see my screen? Is the screen clear from your end? So last week I said something about a mentorship community, and one of the first projects I gave people in the mentorship community is this project. So we're working on the project, and within the week, some of them started submitting their dashboard and their insights and their findings. And I discovered that there's one challenge a lot of persons have when it comes to insights. And also during the competition, I've done competitions, organized competitions in January, February, March, and even up to the one of April. And I discovered that one key area people have a lot of challenges when it comes to insights. Also, I've been in interview panels and we tell persons to build insights, and what they come up with is findings. And if you go to LinkedIn and you see most data analysts report their works, you will discover that you have a lot of findings, a lot of facts, and you have little or no insights. That's what prompted this discussion. That okay, today I'll have a discussion with everybody, and the aim of the discussion is to discuss this thing called, we'll look at findings. But first, let me show us this dashboard. Okay, this is a sales dashboard. This is a live data we want to use for our class today. And this business is located in Nigeria, and they have 6 branches in these 6 states: Ekiti, Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, Osun, and Oyo State. And within the period of, in 2022, they made a total sales of 1,491 units. If we slice through the data, we see Ekiti performance in this entire period. Okay, I like to load. It's in this entire period, Ekiti, they sold only 17 cars. Lagos sold 361, and Ogun made a total sales of 336, and Ondo, they made a total sale of 216. And when we get to Osun State, 337, and Oyo State will be 224. Okay, so we can remove the filter, and if you filter any, whether you filter by age or you filter by gender or you filter by month, you see the different sales and the different performance. Now, how do we build insights from this that we give to the business owner? So that's the discussion for today. So let me start with this. This is the document that was sent to the entire team, my mentorship group. So this is the business brief. That as a newly employed data analyst, your first mission is to provide insightful business analysis to our company, a leading car retailer with branches across 6 states in Nigeria. Your task involves analyzing our sales performance data set for the year 2020 and delivering actionable insights to the business owner. And they gave us objectives: number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So I'll summarize. Number 1 is give us details about the sales, about the performance, about the customers and their demographics, about the geographical analysis. This is about the branches. And then tell us about the products. So in our discussion today, we want to start with the products. So the owners of the business, this is the objective, more like the business brief: explore the preferences of our customers regarding car brands and models, identify the top selling models, analyze the popularity of different car categories, and uncover any trends or patterns in product preferences. So this is the objective. Now, how do we build insights? How do we build recommendations from this? So I will handle the discussion in a very interesting and easy way. Let me start from this. So this material already is in my community. Now let's talk about analysis. I'll take the first 5 minutes to explain analysis so that we'll be on the same page before we now start the practical parts. Now, when we talk about analysis, analysis refers to systematic examination and interpretation of data. The idea is to uncover patterns and trends and insights. And basically, we have 4 types of analytics. Now, the first type of analytics is what we call the descriptive analytics. And in descriptive analytics, we're looking at facts. So the key question there is what happened. Let's take, for example, how many cars did we sell? 1,491. That is what happened. What gender patronize us more? Is it people between, so is it male or female? Now that answer is fact. So when we build charts and we build dashboard, by default, that is just fact. That is what happened. Fact. So sometimes when you see people write their reports, they'll say, we discovered that if I bring up this dashboard, you see things like the total, if we come to where we have the states, and we'll have information like this, that, okay, we discovered that Lagos State had a total of 361 sales, Osun State 337, Ogun State 336, and down to Ekiti State. So when we report this by itself is fact. And in data analytics, that alone does not satisfy the client. That leads us to number 2, where we talk about diagnostics, where we look at insights. And the main thing there is to answer why. So when we know that Lagos is the highest state, now the next thing is to say why. Why is Lagos the highest state? Why is Ekiti the lowest state? Why did we make 1,491 sales? So when we begin to answer the question why, we're looking at gathering insights, which is the key part of our discussion today. Then the third one is where you look at forecasting and you're looking at predictive analysis. You're able to predict what will happen based on the data. Then the fourth part, which is prescriptive, is where you talk about the recommendation. And the recommendation is just simply actions. So when we know that Lagos, we have talked about what Lagos is the highest, and we know why Lagos is the highest, we can then use this knowledge to inform the business owner of what actions to take. That is the recommendation. This is the process you need to follow in your analysis. That's number 1 discussion. Number 2 discussion is, even when talking, okay, I want to give an example here. Let me come with this first one. When we say hypothesis, now hypothesis means the objective, the question. So a company can say, can you track customer engagement for our e-commerce platform? That is the objective. And then we can then build a dashboard or build charts. We'll clean the chart and then come up with dashboard and information that says, okay, that shows the number of visits, the conversion rates, the average order, and the customer retention. And from that now is just fact. So when we say this is the conversion rate, it's just fact. When we show the different charts, it's just fact. Then when we build insight is when we begin to say, okay, from the dashboard, we discover that conversion rate is significantly high for mobile users compared to desktop users. Then when we also notice that people that buy the first time, they don't come to buy the second time. That is the customer retention rate is dropping. So what does this mean? That The mobile optimization strategy, that is the strategy we use to get customers that buy mobile devices, it's working very well. And we can also say our initial onboarding process is not really interesting. That's why we're losing customers. So from there, we can make a recommendation that one, since the mobile optimization strategies is working very well, put more money in the mobile marketing plan. That is one action. Second action, we can say, okay, check the onboarding process and then see how you can refine it. Maybe the number of forms that clients need to fill when they come up on the platform is too much, and some of them may be unnecessary, so it's distracting them. Or maybe the customer service person in charge of attending to them is not really giving them that attention that they want. So the recommendation is the most important thing. I told people in my class today that when analyzing data, the importance is not in whether how you clean the data, how you model the data, how you do the dashboard. One of the key things is what actions can you recommend? And the actions is what we're talking about today. And to build the actions, now we look at the main part, which is insights. I discovered a lot of persons can do descriptive analytics, which is saying what's happened, build charts, and then total sales is this, total conversion rate is that. Yes, people can do that. The part where a lot of persons have issues is this part when it comes to insights. So there are many ways to look at insights, but I'll bring this very simple one so that even if you're a beginner in data analytics, you will understand it. We can break insights into two. One is internal insights, two is external insights. Now, when we talk about internal insights, we're talking about the data. Analyzing the data based on analyzing a particular item in the data based on the data provided. So let me bring this car project again. So if we come to this car project and we look at the data, this is the entire data set. So this is the cleaned data set. For example, if we want insights, one of the questions the business owner, the objective is to analyze the product, the performance of the product. So this is the product, which is the car brand and the car model. So we can say, based on this, can we analyze the effect of the months on the model? Can we analyze the effect of the branch on the model? Can we analyze the effect of age on the model? Can we analyze the effect of gender on the model? Now, when we do this, it is called internal analysis, and it's very simple. Anybody can apply it, and you can use that to uncover insights in your data. So that is one, internal insights. The second one is external. External insight is where you look at external factors, more like government policies, more like location, more like the industry. For example, anybody doing analysis between 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021 would definitely put COVID-19 as an element in the analysis, because COVID-19 makes some sales to go down and some sales to go up. So this is an example of external analysis. For example, if it's in Nigeria, we can say, okay, looking at the economic play, let's say 5 years ago and presently, it's not the same. So in analyzing maybe sales or performance in a particular sector, one will want to consider these economic issues. So these are examples of things. When we did this in the community, in my mentorship community, what I made the students to do is some of them had to check the growth rate of the car industry in Nigeria in 2020 so that we can refer it to our own analysis. So we're not analyzing in isolation. We're also looking at the environment. Secondly, we looked at, for example, Lagos has more sales than Ekiti. So we looked at, okay, the economy in Lagos and the economy in Ekiti State, is it the same? Could it be another reason why we have more sales in Lagos compared to Ekiti? And we look at the population too. The population in Lagos and the population in Ekiti, could it be the population is one of the reasons why we have more sales in Lagos compared to Ekiti? So these are examples of external analysis. In today's class, because of time, I'll just take you through the internal analysis and I'll just use one key part. So let's get practical now using this data. So the data set that we have, I want to bring the data set that we use. And before I bring it up, I'll just give 1 or 2 minutes to ask questions. So explaining the data, the company, they gave us details about the branches, the sales dates, the car model. From there, we also built the car brand, and then the ages and the gender. And they want us to analyze this. So let me come up quickly, take 1 or 2 questions before we proceed. Let me be sure that we're all on the same page. So quickly, if you have any question, just quickly bring it up. Let me answer. Then we proceed with our discussion for today. You can come up with your questions, please. Questions now. Yes, any question? Okay, so I'll proceed. Okay, somebody say, can we get the data sets to work alongside? I always drop my data set in the description section. So yes, the data set will be dropped in the description section. Are we getting the Word documents? The Word documents, I will not tell you openly that I'll give you the Word document because it's for my mentorship community, but I'll drop the data set and you can pick up the objectives. I'll just drop this particular objective you're working with. Okay, what insight does the data modeling? Okay, I did not get a question. Somebody said is really gets interesting. Okay, somebody said great presentation. Somebody said, please will you share the Word document? I said I'll share part of it, especially the parts we're working on. Can the data set and lecture notes be shared? I always, if you've been following me, I always drop my data set in the description section so that you can always practice with it. So yes, I'll drop the data set for you to work with. Okay, and which insight does the chat also this person, Jonas, I'm not really getting a question. And which insight does the chat also? Jonas, I did not get a question. My first time of joining. Okay, please, if you're joining us for the first time, you can just click the subscribe button. We meet every Sunday by 7 p.m. and our discussion is simply data analytics. Please help us with discounts regarding your mentorship program. Okay, stay to the end of the program. There's a discount coming up. Definitely every Sunday I come up with different discount program. Okay, how can I join your mentorship program? I'll tell us about the mentorship program later. So your screen is not okay. Someone say your screen is not too clear. We've talked about it before that it's the settings on your YouTube. Just increase the brightness there, and everything will be fine. So let's get back to our discussion. I want to bring up the data now. Let's start modeling. So we want to start with the first part. Let's answer the first question. So now let's get into insight, which is our discussion for today. Now the business owner wants us to check the preferences of their customers regarding car brands and car models. We should identify the top selling models. Number one, identify the top selling models. Two, analyze the popularity of different car categories. So we have the car model, we have the car brand, and then we have the car model. So when we talk about categories, now we're talking about the models. So let's say, for example, they have Toyota. Let me bring up the data. So if we go through the car, you can see, let me zoom this in. So you can see they have this brand. So you can see Toyota brand, and in Toyota brand, they have about 4 models. So that's what I mean by the categories, the subcategories. So we have the car brand, and then we have the car models. So the business owner, they want us to identify the top selling brands. These are supposed to be brands. Analyze the top selling brands and analyze the popularity of the different car categories. So in this case, we're talking about the models and uncover any trends. So in trends, we're talking about the date, that is time, or patterns in product preferences. So this one we're talking about either the branch, or the age or the gender. So what we have done here, we have identified key things to analyze that in terms of the product here is the car. So I'll simply copy this to a new worksheet. So this will be our worksheet for the class today. So our first analysis is with respect to the car brands. So this is what the business owner wants us to analyze. So now let's see how to build insights from this. Let me take my picture of the video of the screen so I'll have more space to do this. Okay, I think it is better now. So when you have a data set and you have to work on something like this, what you do, first of all, like I said, pick one of the columns. In this case, let me bring up the entire data. So this is the entire data. This is where we have information about the car. I'll zoom this in. This is where we have information about the car brands. So to get insights, internal insights, analyze the car brands with respect to the models, with respect to the sales date, which is the time, that is the trend, with respect to the branches, with respect to the age, with respect to the gender. In doing this, you will build insights. Now let's make it practical. So I go to the models and I create a new worksheet. Let's say a new worksheet in SAT. I'm using Excel, but in class today, I taught people how to do the same thing with Power BI. These are Power BI class today. Let me just show us. So I taught some persons how to do this same project but using Power BI. We did the insights from Power BI. So, but I'm using Excel in today's class. So we create a new sheet, and then let's call this the brand analysis. So we want to analyze the brand. So brand analysis. Okay, and a simple way to start is pick any of the models you have created before, and then we paste here. And then we say we want to analyze this based on, just call this brand. So we give space here. And the first thing we discover, let's sort this from largest to smallest. So our first discovery is that these are the highest selling states. Let me zoom this in a little. So we discovered that Lagos came up with 361 and Ekiti came up with 17. Let me click on sniping tool. I want to bring up sniping tool. So I capture this and I come to my Word documents. So I'm starting with the first. So we want to do our first set of facts. That is, we want to talk about what's happened in the business. So now let's build this. The first set of facts is this, that we discovered that Lagos had 361 portion. Sorry, I'm not supposed to talk about the states. We're talking about the brands. So click here. Sorry, that was a very quick one. So come to pivot chart, analyze, and field list. So we're not talking about the branches, we're talking about the brands. So in trying to get the brands, we'll get information about the brands. We go to all, go to dimension car, then we bring in the brands. Sorry, so this is a quick correction. So in the brands, we right click here, then we go and we sort this from largest to smallest. So good, we can see that Ford brand, Ford produced the highest volume of sales, and the list we have Volkswagen, Kia, and Mercedes. So let's capture this as our first fact. So this is fact. That's one thing we must understand very well. This is just fact. So we can write somewhere in our reports that total sales is 1,491. And out of this total sales, we have it distributed this way. That's some of the brands did very well and some of the brands did not do very well. That is our first indicator. We have seen that one. Then we go again and then we check on it. That if we bring this value now by itself, so we come to this point and we say the percentage of filtered brand, we bring it to this point, and then we sort it from largest to smallest. So we discover that of this total, that Ford alone generated 27%, Mercedes 0.3%, Kia 0.3%, and Volkswagen 0.3%. If we filter through this data, so if we go here and then bring a slicer, and then we slice it by the model. We just want to see something that the first fact that we'll discover from this data. If we turn on the multi-select, then we remove all these ones that did not do well. If we uncheck Volkswagen, we uncheck Kia, and we uncheck Mercedes, and we uncheck Chevrolet. Let's see Chevrolet. So one thing that we'll notice firstly, one thing that we'll quickly notice is that our top selling brands generated more than 89% of the sales. If I come to this point and I say equal to sum, and I sum this 5 here, and I close this bracket and I press enter, you see our first, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brands alone generated 89.3%. And in looking at that number, that is equivalent to say 90%. Out of the 9 brands that we have just 5 of them generating 90%. That is an interesting number that we should take note of. So we capture this and we take this as a report also. So the second part of our report is this, that 89%, 89.3%, which is approximately 90% of our sales come from top 5 brands. So on this note, we can do this, that this top 5, what we have from here to here, this would be, we'll call it, let's say, our top brands. Let me just code it, and then we'll call this other 5 our least performing brands. That is our bottom brands. So one of the first things we have noticed is that this top 5 generated 90% of the sales, while this top 3 generated just about 10%. So this is the point we now start. So most data analysts will just report this, that this is what they discovered. But what we're learning today is the next part is where we now start the insights. So the insights is where we begin to ask ourselves why. So why is it that this top 5 generated this and these other ones couldn't generate anything? So we'll pick all the different, we'll check by model, we'll check by branch, we'll check by age, we'll check by gender, and we'll check by dates. So we can bring dates. That is the trend. So it depends on the data you're working with. You check each of these and then look for where you have a correlation. So now let's take the first one that we want to check by model. And how to check by model is very easy. If I copy this and I come to this point and I paste it here, and I say here we want to check by model. So this is the data set, and I pull out the filtered brand. And then we say, okay, for the models, let's look at all the models that we have, the count of the models. So remember, we have 17 models, and we bring the models that we have, that each of these branches, how many models do they have? We click on the filter and then on the sort, and we sort it from largest to smallest. If you look at the screen, you will notice something. Oh, somebody said, oh, okay, I'm seeing this in the group. Please, 1 minute, let me pause. Let me come to the. Somebody said you're too fast. Okay, okay, I was not looking at it. Sorry, you. Okay. My apologies. Okay. Hello, sir. How? Okay. So I just saw this message that slow down, you're too fast. I think from about 2 or 3 persons. My apologies. Okay. So let me slow down. But I can continue from where we stopped, right? Okay, I'll slow down. Let me slow down. Slow down. I'm thinking of how to do it. Okay. I'm trying to see how we can cover a lot, because even in this class, I want to cover correlation. Okay, so let me slow down. I'm trying to change speed. Now let's go. So in the first part, let me go through what we have done. We have discovered that 5 of the 9 brands generated 90% of the sales. That is a fact. So what insight can we get from that? What insight can we build from that? 2, we want to start checking that we want to use the different elements, as the different dimensions, the different columns in the data to check their effect on this main model that we're working on. So the first one we want to check using the different models to check the effect of the models on the brands. So we brought one of the dimensions, one of the DAX we rated, the measures we created is the count of the models, meaning in Ford, how many models of Ford do they sell? How many models of Toyota? How many models of Honda? How many models of Chevrolet? How many models of Mercedes? How many models of Kia? How many models of Volkswagen? So see what we quickly discovered. If you look at this, you will see that there is a demarcation between the two. If you notice, all the brands that did very well, they have more than one model that they sell. And all the brands that did not do well, they have just one model. That is one insight that we can gather. So let us quickly take the sniping tool and then copy this So remember, we said we'll work on model, on date, on branch, on age, and on gender. In this class, I'll just work on 2 and then allow you to do the other ones as assignments. So when it comes to model, I want to pull these ones down. When it comes to model, the insight that we're getting is that first, we have discovered that, so number one insight is that all the brands that we included as top performing have more than one model. So that is one thing that we have pulled out. And now quickly, let me tell us about correlation, because there are many statistical tools that you can use to build this very well. There is regression, there is correlation, there is ANOVA, there is hypothesis testing. But I always like to use the simplest one in an open class like this. So let's use correlation to actually see if there is a relationship between the model and the quantity of cars sold. So to do that correlation, we can simply copy this and then paste it here. Then we go to data. In your data, you will see the data analysis toolpack. When you click data analysis toolpack, it will bring up correlation as one of the options. Click on it and then we say, okay. Now it's asking us where is the data range. We click the data range, we select from here to here, and we close it. The data is in columns. We copy the header also. And where is the output? We click here and then we paste here and then we say okay. Then we click OK. Now, what is it telling us? There is a strong positive correlation of 0.92. This is strong. So yes, there is. We have used statistics now, which is correlation, to say there is a correlation. There's a relationship between the number of models in a brand and the volume of sales. And if we want to represent this in a scatter plot, we select this and then we come to inserts and we come to scatter chart, scatter plot, and we bring these plots. We bring these plots down here. So with this plot, we can click on this plus sign here and then say, show us the trend line. So you can see, for those that understand correlation, I've done a video before on correlation. You can always watch it to have a better understanding. This chart is showing us that there is a strong positive correlation between the number of models in a brand and the sales volume. So we capture this too, we capture the scatter plots. So like I mentioned, I've seen a lot of persons do reports on LinkedIn, and sometimes they submit to me on other platforms. And let me openly say this, most people just go to ChatGPT. Please, as a data analyst, there are certain things you do and there are certain things you should improve on. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but you should improve on. Most people will just go to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to write insights. This particular one, I can tell anybody, ChatGPT can give you insights to a level, but not everything, not detailed insight. ChatGPT can easily give you facts, but when it comes to insight, ChatGPT cannot give you all of it. That's where you need to know these things so that you apply it in the data. So our second insight is that there is a positive, a strong, because the correlation is very strong, a strong positive correlation that's of about 0.92 between number of models and number of models sold by a brand and the volume of sales. Now, what does this mean? We're still in insight. So the meaning of this is, as you increase the number of models in a brand, there may likely be a related increase in the volume of sales. So the keyword there is likely. The keyword there is likely and related, because in correlation, correlation is different from causation. For example, there may be other factors responsible for this. Maybe they increase marketing budget. Maybe it's because of the location. So this is not the only reason. It may not also be the main reason. So that's why we use the word likely and related. So this is our first insight. The first insight we got, that all the brands that we included as top performing have more than one model, and we use correlation to discover that as you increase the number of models in a brand, there may likely be an increase in the volume of sales. Somebody said it in class today, that this will also mean that even these brands that are not performing very well, if the business should increase the number of models that they have, it may likely lead to increase. Are we together? This is still meaning. Another meaning that we can build from this is most of the clients, they love variety. So when they come to buy Chevrolet and they discover it's just one brand of Chevrolet, but when they see Toyota, that Toyota has like 3-4 brands, somehow it gets them to prefer the Toyota to the Chevrolet. That is one assumption we can quickly build from these insights. So now that we have done the first part, which is we have done the facts. This is the facts that we have. Number 2, we have done the the insights. Then we now go to the action. So what do we want the business owner to do? So what is our recommendation? So recommendation. So in every analysis, whether it is interview or it's in the business case, where you get the attention of everybody is in recommendation. You have built the charts, you have done the facts. It is the action that you recommend that is very important. So one action that we can recommend, please, if you have any action that you can suggest in the discussion section in the chats part, please just type your suggestion so I can add it to this one that we want to make here. So who can give us one suggestion? Let me add it to what I'm about to add. We can say that in all the branches, for each brand, have at least 3 models. That's one of our recommendations. Why did we pick 3? Because the number between here that perform well is between 2 and 4. So we can take 3 as an average, or we can take 4. So we can say in all the branches, for each brand, have at least 3 models. That's one recommendation we can make. Another recommendation we can make, another quick recommendation we can make is, we can say in all the branches, have the top 5 brands. So irrespective of the preferred car model in each of these branches, have the top 5 brands. Why? Because we discovered that 90% of the sales came from this. So this is how to build recommendations. I don't know if this is very clear with us. So what we did was we looked at this with respect to the models. Now I want us to go to number 2. We listed about 5-6 of them. So we have done for the models. Now let's do for the dates and the branch, and then we can, in that same way, pick. As we continue to pick on each of these, you begin to discover more and more insights, and that is the beauty of analysis. So let's take another one. So let's copy this. Let's copy this. I'll copy from here. We want to do the second one. Like I said, I'll give you the data set after this class. Then you practice on it, and you will enjoy it. So in this second one, we want to remove the model. Now we want to work on another item again. So let's look at it. We want to check by months. If the number of months, or let's check by branch before we check by months. We want to check if the number of branches have effects on the volume of sales. So we bring this measure that we have that has to do with branches, and then we paste here. Remember, this company, they have their products sold in 6 different branches. So we want to check if there is any effect of the branches. And if you're following me from the beginning, please note this. And I'm trying to separate those that are learning and from those that are professional. Now note this: when you just share facts. Facts alone is not data analytics. A secretary can do facts. Somebody in a business center can do facts. Anybody, in fact, can do facts. Immediately, they know how to plot charts. But where the beauty of analysis comes out, where you enjoy it, is when you begin to build insights. These are things you don't just look at and then it comes out. You choose different tools. And I'm showing you some of the very easy tools you can use. So this second one, I want to check by branches. Now, if you filter this one too to say the top 5, go to sort and say largest to smallest. Okay. I think I've slowed down on the speed a little. Hope it's okay. So if we look on from largest to smallest, we'll also discover another insight. If I zoom in and bring this and we check the top 5, you notice that except for Chevrolet and Hyundai, that the top 5 cars, they sell in all the branches. Whereas these other ones, Mercedes, Kia, and Volkswagen, they don't sell in all the branches. So could it be that that's one of the reasons why these other brands, they are not doing very well, because they only sell in 1 or 2 branches? And if we try to confirm this statement using correlation, if we take this and then we paste it somewhere here, and we say, let us check the correlation data analytics. On the correlation tab, we click OK, and we select the area, the data range, and we come to outputs. We say we want to see the outputs here, and then we click OK. So what do we have here? You can see that we have another strong positive correlation. This one, the correlation is 0.85. So the number of branches that we have these brands is also related to the volume of sales. That is our second insight that we've gotten. And if we pull this out in another chart, we'll have something like this. And if we bring it down here, and if you click on the chart elements and you say add a trend line, you can see it's also giving us a positive correlation. So we can click the sniping tool and then we copy this first part. Now I'm building this assuming I'm working with a team. I'm not working alone. So that's what these are the things you will take note of. So anybody in my team can take these reports and can take these insights and then build a report and go for a presentation. So based on the branches, the first fact that we have is this. So this is just telling us fact that we have Ford in 6, Toyota in 6, and others. And we can come to the chart again, and we screen grab our correlation charts, and we also screen grab the third one, which is this particular one, and we come here and we paste. So the insight in this case, insight in this, that there is a strong positive correlation, of about 0.85 between the number of branches and the volume of sales. So what action can the business owner take based on this, which is our recommendation? Our recommendation tallies with the first recommendation we made earlier, that in all the branches we should have the top 5 models. So that's what we suggest here. That since we discovered that in all the, so our recommendation will be that in all the 6 branches, we should have the brands, then we can say especially the top 5 brands. So this is our second recommendation. I'll do one more, then we'll pause for today. Now let's quickly do, so we have done for branch. Now let's quickly check if date has effect. Then I'll stop and then we have asked all the questions. So I'll copy the branch and then come here and then we paste. Now we want to check, this is more like the trend. So when we're talking about dates, we're looking at the trend and the month. So in this case, we bring up the pivots field list and we remove the brand. Now we bring information about the months. We want to check if the number of months have effect. So we bring the month and then we place inside here. Okay, then we then sort this again, sort from largest to smallest. So interestingly, this is another insight. So some of the insights you will not see any relationship, some you will see relationship. So in this particular one, you can notice one thing, that the top 5 brands is sold all year round from January to December. But the 4 brands that did not perform very well, if you check, for example, Volkswagen sold for only 1 month. If you check this 1 month, this 1 month is for only January. So they sold Volkswagen only in January. So, and you can see the other ones. So there is another relationship, another insight, that the number of months also have an effect on the sales volume generated per month. And if we do this, correlation on this, we also have a positive correlation. So we can come to our analysis and then also document that the brand should be made available the brand should be available all year round. So these are the things that will help us answer this first question. Why? Why did Ford, Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Hyundai, why are they the top 5? So please, every analyst, this is a very simple way. This is one of the things. There are many things, but this is one of the things you should take note of. That stop reporting facts. Stop building charts and then maybe you go on LinkedIn or you're reporting to your boss or during interview, and then you just report Ford at 368, Toyota at 362, Honda 203. No, with that we can't really get what is happening. Where we need insight is when you're able to answer the question why. When you've answered the question what happened, be able to tell the business owner why. And after telling the business owner why, be able to get to the point where you say, okay, these are the actions you should take. Okay, so somebody said, I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to get you to agree with me on this, that there is level to how you handle data analytics and do your presentations. So at this point, I'll pause for questions. But before I to take the questions, and I'll take the questions very fast. Now, before I take the questions, some persons have asked, I think some persons have asked that how can they be part of my mentorship program, and how can they be, because somebody said, how can I be part of your mentorship community? I announced last Sunday that I have a mentorship community, and I need only 10 persons. Interestingly, I asked for only 10 persons. I'm showing us my WhatsApp, but if you, when you check the discussion, this is my WhatsApp. Now, if you check the discussion, we have built the mentorship community. We have 6 already, 6 mentorship communities running. And some of these mentorship communities, if you check, even up to today, we're still talking every day. We're building different projects. I wanted to run only one, but the number of people that have joined the community presently, I have about 6. When I show us the community, I have about 6 persons already. Sorry, I have about 6 communities, and each of them, some of them, they're up to 10 in these communities. And the idea is, I want people that are really serious, that, okay, we're not just looking at data analytics where I'll come explain what is data analytics and then begin to, no. I need people that it will be project-based. Each week, I'll give you a project. Like this one we're working on is the project for this week. If you check in some of this community, if you check their discussion, permit me, I may not open the community, you see that a lot of discussion is going on. on how far they have gone. Some persons have gone up to the point of uploading it on their LinkedIn profile as a portfolio. That's how far some persons have gone within 1 week. So how the community runs, how the mentorship program is, a mentorship program is, how it runs is, every week I'll give a project just like this one, and I'll give the data. Then every day, a step in the persons in the mentorship program, they will complete each task every day that will lead them to that full project. For example, day one, they may work on EDA and ETL. Day two, they may work on building models and data modeling. Day three, they may work on visuals. Day four, they work on building dashboard. Day five, they may work on analysis. Day six, they will work on building their portfolio. So that is how it runs. It's optional. I'm not trying to, push anybody to join, but I'm just telling you that being a member of the community is one of the ways to get directly involved with what I do. And in that way, I can give you full attention to say, okay, you're building as a data analyst. This is how far you've come. These are the areas you need to improve on. That way I can go through each of your projects, and then where we have modifications, I'll make the modifications. Now, somebody asked about the price, and I said, no, the price, when I did last week, I did it I said 10,000 because that was a promo. The price for the mentorship is 25,000 naira. I think I just dropped the details on the discussion section, and that is what I'm charging. So somebody said if I'll do a promo today and a discount, and I said, okay, yes, I'll do a discount. It's a very simple one, and I keep saying it, please, it's optional. It's not like you must do it. It just depends. If you want to join my mentorship program, I've told us how the mentorship program runs. It's the idea so that I can give full attention. Every project you do, you submit, you and I will discuss. Another members in the community that, okay, improve this one or change this one or change that one. That is how it runs. And your first project is this car project. This is your first project. The first project you will work on is to build this car project up to the dashboard, the one I displayed today. So I know a lot of persons have asked me, okay, how did we build this car? That when you slice through a particular, when you go through a particular slicer, the car changes, the brand of the car changes. How do you do that? These are different things that we may not be able to cover them on a class like this, but we'll discuss them in the community. So I'll just drop the account details so that we can get back to our discussion. I'll drop the account details, and I'll simply, it's optional, like I always say. It's optional. If you're interested, the amount is there. Then the phone number, immediately you make the payment, you send me a chat on WhatsApp, and we'll be added to the platform. Interestingly, a new community is starting tomorrow. So I'm showing it now. The account detail is there and the phone number. So a new community is starting tomorrow. If you register today, you're joining the community that is starting tomorrow. And the discount I'm giving, I'm just removing a 20% discount. So that means you can pay 20,000 naira. So if you're in class with us today, the offer is you can pay 20,000 and you still get to join. I'll see you in the community. Let's get back to the class. Okay, I want to answer the questions that we have on the platform. So you can quickly drop the questions. So let me start from here. I'll be sniping tool is used to take. Okay, your sniping tool is the same as your screen grab. Just go to your search bar, type sniping. You'll see it. Okay, please can you explain how you came about the values with FX in front of them in the pivot field? Okay, that has to do with measures. To create that, you need an understanding of measures. So if we go to the data and we want to create, for example, let me share the screen. I'll just do that as one example. Then other ones that will come up as questions, we will get them. So if I go to my Excel now, and then I come to measures. So it's not only in Power BI that I can write DAX. In Excel, you can write DAX. And I will encourage you that slow down on the use of values when it comes to drag items to values. Instead, write your measures using DAX. So if I right-click here, you'll see Add Measure, which is exactly what we have in Power BI. And if I say I want to count, let's say we want to count the number of months that we have, or let's say we want to count so let's say we want to count and we use distance count So we want to count distinct counts, and we want to look at the fact table. So from the fact table, we can look at the number of months. So we can look at the number of months. So we have 12 months in a year. We can look at the number of months. So count months, let me call it 2, and then we check if the formula is correct. It's correct. We change it to number. We change it to whole number, and then we click OK. So if we drag it, now you have the one we just created as count of months 2. So these are all measures. The person that asked that question. Okay, so let's continue. Another question is, sir, please, where do you get the sniping tool? Okay, the sniping tool comes from, if you come to your search, the search bar in your Windows system, just type snipe. You see it sniping tool. If you click it, it comes up. Okay, so the next question is, sir, can we rewatch this section after? Yes, the video is on YouTube. I'm not bringing it down. So you can always rewatch. You can even download the video if you know how to do it. Okay, so let's take the question again. You can rewatch the video. Yes. Sniping tool. Okay, Mr. Austin, thank you for helping me to answer some of the questions. After the model demonstration, the next should be on the date. Yes, I worked on the date, and we saw the 12 months, the effect of the 12 months. America Cookie is part of what we did. How did you separate the car brand and the car model in the pivot table? Because in the data set, the car model and brand is together. So after cleaning the data, if you followed the project we did last week, that's another thing. If you're just joining us, we covered a full project within the last 4 weeks. I taught how to do facts and dimension table. So when we created the dimension table for the car, you can see in the dimension table we use delimiter in Power Query to split between the car model and the car brand so that we can get in-depth analysis, just like we're doing now. Okay. So somebody said, can we also add that even though Chevrolet has only one model, people still love that model due to the number of sales made? Okay, so in data analytics, we believe in the data. So we always look at what the data is telling us. So in this case, we are looking at the information from the data. Okay, Victor said very clear. Okay, can we recommend that we should stop wasting money on the bottom 3? So yes, that's number one. We will not outrightly say stop. Instead, we will recommend that they should further analyze, they should do further research on these 3 that are not performing well to know if it is a brand that is phasing out completely, or if there are other factors. Remember from our analysis, we just discovered that one, these brands that are not doing well, they are not sold in all, they don't sell them in all the branches compared to others. We discovered that some of them, they sold for only 1 month, while the ones that are doing well sold for 12 months. So that may also be a reason. We also discovered that these brands that are not doing well, they have only one model. So these are all different insights we are getting from the data. So that's why we may not outrightly or quickly recommend that they should scrap them. Instead, there should be further research. Okay, then can we have an example of getting insights from external factors? Okay, I will see how to handle that, Mr. Otto. Invest more money. Okay, we should invest more money on the top selling brands and phase out the bottom 3. I agree with the first part that we should invest more money. Investing more money also means that we should get these brands too that are doing well. We should get a minimum of 3 or 4 models of each in each of the branches. So that is getting more money. If we're doing adverts, by the time we analyze the data, we still have to analyze by age, by gender. By the time we analyze the data further, we'll know in each of the states which brand is doing well. Because when we did it in class today, we discovered that the different states have different brands that they sell very well. Like the brand that is selling very well in Lagos is Ford Fiesta. The brand that is selling very well in Osun is Toyota Corolla. So the different brands, we have their different sales. The brand that is selling, the gender that is selling very well in Lagos is female. The gender that is selling very well in Ogun is male. So these different varieties, when we analyze the data further, will help us now tell the company that when you're when you're targeting Lagos, these are the things you should take note of. When you're targeting Osun State, these are the things you should take note of. So that this becomes our insight. So we're not just telling them, okay, do all the brands and sell all the brands. No, that in this particular state, have all the brands, but your focal point is this. So, for example, if you want to run a billboard or they want to run adverts, and they discover that a lot of the females love Toyota Corolla, for example, then it gives them a hint of what the elements they should use when building that advert. If a lady that is 34 years old walks into the office in let's say Osun State, into the car office in Osun State, with the analysis that we'll do, we can tell the salespersons that, see, this lady, she will buy A or B car. So that's one beautiful thing with insights, that by the time we build these insights to the end, we can get to that point where we'll tell the marketers, see this lady coming. Let's assume she's 34, between 34, 35 years. When you are talking to her, present these 3 cars. So that way it increases the conversion rate of how we and how we generate sales. Okay, so we continue to, how do we know when we have strong positive or negative correlation, sir? It's positive when the correlation value turns positive and negative respectively. Okay, one, I've done a video on correlation, so check my previous videos, a full video on correlation. Now, correlation, we have positive and negative correlation. Now, then the strength of the correlation can be between +1, -1, and 0. So when it is +1, it means it's strong, it's positive. Now, if it's when we're talking about positive correlation, that means as you increase one factor, the other factor will likely increase. If you reduce one factor, that same factor will likely, another factor will likely increase. So in positive correlation, they go in the same direction. But in negative correlation, as you increase one, the other one is reducing. Now, from our analysis, we have discovered that while increasing one, the other one is also increasing. Okay, let's continue. The next question is, great presentation. Thank you. The insight and recommendation makes a lot of sense now. Okay, thank you very much for that. Please help us with PowerPoint. Okay, so if you have been following me, let me attend to Omaumi. If you have been following my different classes, if you check, we have this class every Sunday. I always do a series. So this is, we ended a four-week series last Sunday. If you check, we came up to a dashboard, and I've seen on LinkedIn a lot of persons build dashboard. Congratulations and well done. So for this one, now this is a new series we're starting. Yes, I'm doing it in my mentorship program, but once in a while, I'll just come out and throw one or two things to us to learn from. So yes, we may likely do a PowerPoint, because now when we build all the insights and the recommendation, we can decide to take it to a full PowerPoint presentation. So we'll be ending this class. Normally our class is 1 hour. This is 5 minutes after. So I'll try and end this class within 5 minutes. Okay, so somebody said, clear difference between facts and insights. Thank you very much. Okay, we said facts. The facts that we just get from the dashboard. For example, total number of sales. Our KPIs, they are just facts. Our charts, they are simple facts. So total number of sales is a fact. So, Lagos made the highest sales of 368, followed by Osun State. Ekiti did only 17 sales. These are all facts. Insights means, so fact answers the question, what happened? So when we begin to ask, why did this thing happen? That's where we're talking about insights. What can we learn from this thing that happened? That is what we call insights. Okay. Thank you. The class is very insightful. Mr. Austin, thank you very much. When the value is closer to 1, the relationship is positive and strong. Okay, Mr. Edwards, thank you for answering that question. Samuel, why is the price of the car model not captured? It could play a big part in the sales. Okay, thank you. In this analysis, the company, they only gave us the volume of sales to analyze. Okay, can you go back to the table? I can see that Chevrolet. Okay, Mr. Manuel is here. We can always rewatch the video to get that part. What's of if you have projects you need help outside the one in the mentorship group? Yes, we can. You can talk to me. You can talk to members of my team. Austin Beye is also a member of my team. You can talk to any of us, and we'll look into it. Okay. So with the way you teach and share your knowledge, the mentorship community is going to grow more than the expectation. I call make. Okay, I understand you, sir. Okay, please, can you give us an example of a negative correlation? Let's see how it looks different from the positive one. I may likely do that in the next class. I know there are two questions, Mr. Augustine. Please, because of time, I know I've exceeded my 1 hour. This is like 7 minutes after the 1 hour, so I'll try and see. Somebody said something about doing external correlation, external insight. Now you've also said something about negative correlation. I'll look at that. Then, while you're waiting for my next class, if you check my previous video on correlation, I handled negative correlation too. Okay. Rose said, when asked to build a dashboard for an explanatory analysis and make a presentation about it, should one put all the insight on the dashboard and in the presentation? Your insight, your insight is not supposed to be part of your dashboard. Your insight is part of your report. Your report could be in PowerPoint. So try and separate them, because it will be too much information in one place. It's not wrong. Let's be clear, it's not wrong, but it will be too much information in one place. Your dashboard should, first of all, show the facts, what happened. Then with your sliders, you can also get some insights from your dashboard. But where you detail and explain and talk about your facts should be on a Word document, preferably on a PowerPoint slide. Okay. I think you also talk about helping with portfolio projects of 4 years in 4 weeks. Is it for the mentorship community? Yes, for those in my mentorship community, those that started, even we started another community started. One of the mentorship groups started yesterday or day before yesterday. They're already through with project number. They're already through with the first step in project number 1. So I think they are through with cleaning, and they're supposed to start the modeling. So yes, within the 4 weeks, we'll complete 4 projects. And I've just shown us this particular project. This car project is the first project they will work on. And after that one, there's also a HRO project, and we'll bring in more projects until we get the 4 complete projects. Somebody say, can we pay the 20,000 twice? Please, it's just one payment. You bear with me on that particular one. Please, I understand you very well, but please, so that the program can run and run smoothly, is a one-off payment. And the discount that we're giving is just for today. Please, let's note this, so we don't, if you come tomorrow and to make payments, like some persons came and they said, we saw it on Sunday. And I said, no, Sunday was a discount. So today is a discount. Please note this, it's a discount. So we understand how the presentation goes. When asked to do an explanatory analysis and make a presentation about, okay, I've answered that one. Somebody said, sir, please, my count of car model is different from yours. How can I correct it? Yes, if you're in my community, some persons outside my community have 1,461. But if those in my community, they learned how, I taught them how to use the correct figure, which is 1,491, because there are 30 points in the data, 30 rows, that if one is not careful, one will count them as duplicates. But when we investigated these 30 rows, we discovered that the transaction ID is the same, but the data is not the same, and it's not a primary key. So that's why. Okay, sir, please, I can't find the link to download the data set. I'll drop it in the description section immediately after this class. Please, sir, can we have lectures on data analytics using Power BI after that of Excel? I've had a lot of discussion on Power BI, and like the class I had today, this same project, if you, let me just show us, we use, it's the same project, but this is using Power BI. And I've promised us that, yes, one of the days, I know I've done one class on Power BI, and don't worry, I would work on building a project on Power BI as we go along. Okay, I think I've answered almost all the questions. Can you talk about the growth rates? Just one example. Okay, Mr. Emeka Cookie. Mr. Emeka Cookie, this is one question I wanted to skip so that we can close for today. Okay, very fast. Please, okay, let me just make one statement. Mr. Emeka Cookie, I will not talk about it all. I told people in my class today, please, whenever you're giving a sales or a financial data, hello, data analysts, please listen to this and get this very clear. Whenever you're giving a sales or a financial data to analyze, always include the growth rate. Hello, always include the growth rate, because the information you have in the growth rate is more than the information you have in the volume or value of sales. For example, in this analysis, if we check the total sales is 1491, but the growth rate is 4.27. When we did external analysis, we discovered that in Nigeria in 2020, the growth rate was 3 point something. And so this business, firstly, is doing well. And the growth rate is one indicator. The growth rate is about the demand. Is there a demand? Is there an increasing demand for the product? And then the volume is just telling us that the number of sales. Let me go to Power BI because it was a strong discussion today. For example, let's come to this, and I wish we can see this particular chart. Now, this particular chart has the growth rates. I will zoom in a little so that we appreciate this. Now, when we check the sales, November, which is this peak sales, a beginner analyst will focus on November. That hello sir, see the chart, your sales, you had a lot of sales in November, but that is not the key points to focus on. That is not even the key point that the analysis should focus on. Instead, if you notice these points, the month with the highest growth rate is from June to July. If you check the steepness, now when we check through this data, November had a growth rate of 5.8. Okay, sorry. I'm not showing us I'm supposed to show us the Power BI. Okay, just check the screen. Okay, so this is the Power BI. And when we check November has a sale. The sales in November is 200, which is the highest if we check by the sales. But the growth rate in November is 5.8. But when you go to July, the sales is just 140. But when you check the growth rate is 55.6. That is the best performing month in this particular year is July, not November. November is just the number of sales, but July. Why? If you check between October and November is from 189 to 200. That means they sold just an additional 11 cars between October and November. But if you check between June and July, they went from 90 to 140, meaning they sold 50 cars. In terms of performance, use growth rates, not just total sales. So, Mr. Austin, let me not go too far. I'm so sorry, Mr. Emeka, let me not go too far based on your question. That is just one clear insight. And if you check through all the products, like what we did in class today, when we checked through all the products, we also discovered that using growth rates, some products have more demand. So going forward, you can tell the company focus more on these products. Okay, the brands not selling much might be more profitable than the top selling ones. That is if we have information concerning the value, that is the amount. But in this case, this analysis, let's face the fact, is about volume of sales. So we're not talking about the price in this case. Okay, what about newbies in data analytics world? Can we also join the mentorship community? If you're new to data analytics, I will advise you take my course first. I have a beginner course, because when you come into my mentorship program, in the mentorship program, we're not teaching. I don't know what it gets. We're not teaching. Instead, there's a project you're to work on. We'll bring up a project and you will work on the project. It's now based on what you do that will come back, and then we'll begin to build. We'll begin to make correction. We'll begin to learn from it. So in this is like I've discovered over time in the private students that I handle that learning in this way, that the build project is faster and is better compared to just sitting down and listening to a lecture. Okay, we have explained what the sniping tool is, and then please, can we have access to the data set? Yes, it will be in the description section after this. So please, do you teach statistical analysis in your mentorship classes? Don't understand how you use correlation. Okay, for now, I try not to make things complex. It's just correlation that we handle in the mentorship community. Geographical location and economic activities in this area can affect the sales. Yes, this is from Kanu. Yes, that's where, remember at the beginning we said there is internal and external analysis. So from external analysis, we can pinpoint that. So thank you, sir, for this lecture. Thank you very much, Joma Eze and Victor. Great delivery and insight. Analysts should not have should not just conclude on dashboard, but insights. Okay, Mr. Victor Bassi, thank you very much. Okay, so we get to, let's see, thanks for the class. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Frank. And how can we generate insight from Power BI? That's another discussion, but it's also interesting. You can export the data from Power BI to Excel and then do the analysis, or you do it in Power BI there directly. Is the chart for correlation universal? Mr. Jackson Moses, I don't really understand your question, but if you mean that, you see, with respect to Excel or with respect to, when you say universal, correlation is correlation anywhere, if that's what you're asking. Okay, is there a section for mentorship class, and how long does a section last? Okay, the mentorship class, interestingly, you have all day to build your project. When you submit, the review comes up. So it's not, there's no specific time. What we know is that we have 4 weeks, and each week, each 7 days, we're supposed to work on a project. The duration is 4 weeks. How can one generate insights from Power BI? That is, I've just shown us the Power BI. We did that today, but I may not be able to bring all that up. Okay, is the community physical class online? Monica is online. Thank you, sir, for the class. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. NetTech. Thank you very much, Sylvester. It's not okay. Somebody says it's not showing. I think we've passed that. So please, how much is the complete Excel course? I have 2 courses. One is for 5,000 and one is for 7,500. Screen not displayed again. Yeah, I've turned on the screen. I noticed that. If you're talking about my course, if you're interested in getting my course, there is, I have 2 courses on. I have 2 courses on Seller, including the mentorship program. So this is one of my courses. Let me just, from here, you can link to other courses that I have on Seller. So this is one of my courses. So I continue. I just made payments for the mentor. Okay, somebody said, I just made payments for the mentorship program. Okay, thank you very much, Teachers Delight. I'll welcome you to the community. Admin will handle your login process immediately. How much is the beginner course? The beginner course is just 5,000. Please, where do you teach complex data analysis in the mentorship program? It depends on what you call complex. I had to tell people in the mentorship program, bring any data, any data, bring it. There is no how somebody, if I don't do it, there's no how somebody in the community will not handle it. So, Fuller, let me bring it up. Fuller, bring the dirty data, bring the complex data, bring it on. Okay, please, can we join the beginner class? Yes, you can join the beginner class. I've dropped the link in the description. You are doing good. Okay, okay, Chuka, thank you very much. I'm trying to see how I can answer all this. And how do you calculate growth rate? Growth rate, the formula is a measure. Growth rate is current volume minus previous volume divided by previous volume, all multiplied by 100. So it's expressed in percentage. So this is the link to get the course. And sir, as a beginner, can a beginner still join your mentorship program? Yes, hello sir, I missed the growth rate. Can you quickly take that, please? I will encourage you to just check the sections and then get the growth rates with that. I just want to show for those that say they're interested in the course. If you go to if you follow me on, if you check my platform on Seller, you see the different courses that I have, and you can take on any of them. Now, for those that want to join my mentorship program, this is the mentorship program. Like I told us, it's 25,000 naira. But for those of us that are in class today and want to register, you can get a discount and then you get the course. This is the complete link to the course. You can sign up and then you get it. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope we had a great class and I hope we had a great time. Please, if this is your first time in my channel, please remember to click the subscribe button. Let me do Seller and let me do Seller. I think I have one on Seller and I have a damp, because it's damp on Seller. Okay, yes. So this is the link to, in case you want to check the link after this discussion to join the mentorship program. So if you click this link, it will also lead you to the mentorship program. This is the link, seller.co/damp. Just click on it and it will give you full access into the mentorship program. I think I've answered all the questions. For every other question, that I did not answer. I apologize greatly. Please, because of time. Seriously, today I've went beyond time. But thank you very much. Thank you for being part of today's class. And remember to practice. I'll drop the data sets. Remember to practice. Remember to like. Remember to make a comment. Remember to share on your LinkedIn profile and tag me. I'll always respond. And even immediately tag me, I'll come follow you. And let's continue to build this community. Thank you. I'll see you in the mentorship community. Have a fine week ahead. Have a fine week. Have a fine week ahead. Thank you very much.